the Astraea server. Below me is what you just saw me build. Let's walk through it. As per usual, there's still a lot of work to do. I'm in the midst of terraforming this area, like I mentioned in my last episode, but I figured I should build this farm here. It's a creeper farm prior to terraforming, because as I spend time doing this farm will be active and I will get plenty of gunpowder. This is the water intake facility, I guess. It's kind of modeled after maybe a desalination unit. So it's an older one. My lore says it's about, I don't know, maybe built in the 20s or 30s. It's modeled after a real life facility. The exterior is modeled. The interior obviously is a completely different beast because this is Minecraft and I turned it into a creeper farm. So I try to make the farm as aesthetically pleasing as possible. I surrounded it with tinted glass so you can kind of see in there. I mean, it's not the best. Obviously, tinted glass serves a purpose of blocking out all light, but it also doesn't allow you to really see for that very same purpose. I'm already getting quite a bit of gunpowder. This has been running for maybe an hour and a half, something like that. So more than a single chest. I haven't been running it in the AFK chamber, which is where I just started the episode, way up there on that gray, light gray, whatever glass in the sky. That is the ideal spot because I have not lit up the caves surrounding the area. So I still have quite a bit of mob spawning just in and around this area. It's something that I probably will do on stream at some point, but right now, obviously the farm isn't really active because I'm too close. I have to be, I forget, 28 blocks away or something like that in order to activate it. This is a pretty traditional farm design. I have, and let me turn on gamma and let's fly around. So I have 5 platforms on 2 sides, so 10 platforms total. I believe so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. 10 platforms total. The typical design to stop spiders from spawning. So no 3x3 spaces are available. Trapdoors to only allow creepers to spawn, because obviously they are just below 2 blocks high. And then I have your standard etho hopper clock connected to a pulse extender. I think I have 16 sticks in each one of these. It gives a pretty good separation between pulses, as you can see there. It gives plenty of time for the mobs to spawn, and then just gets to the length and then kind of cuts off the water. So sometimes it does take 2 flushes to get these guys out, but I'm fine with that. On the bottom, I lined everything with magma blocks. So they fall off these platforms, the water pushes them off. They fall down into the magma blocks and then fall into the center water stream and then into the soul campfires. Oftentimes they will die on their way in the magma blocks, but the water is flowing in such a way that items, their gunpowder, will flow right into the soul campfires and get collected into these hoppers, pushed into a dropper, and then I have my often used observer clock with a sticky piston and a comparator that kicks on as soon as anything is in that dropper, goes up the water stream, and then collects in these 4 chests. So that is it in a nutshell. Anything else I'd like to mention? Yeah, so the magma block idea is essentially if a mob takes damage, it won't despawn. So I realized the distance, like say if, maybe back here. If a creeper is on the top shelf, like right here, and they fall down, say in this corner, and then fall down here and then go all the way down here, there was a good chance if I didn't have that creeper take damage at some point in this journey that they might despawn, because that is quite a journey to make. I figured, hey, let's add the magma blocks so they can take damage and then they will not despawn instantaneously as some seem to do. Let's talk about the exterior a little bit. So again, modeled this after a water intake facility. Essentially, it's a fairly simple Art Deco-esque design. Try to make it look a little weathered, as if it were, it's been around for a little while. It's getting hit by the waves. All these waves. It's getting hit by the waves and getting worn down. This corner, because this is the corner that it actually meets the land, I decided to mossify it quite a bit. So added some short grass and moss and mossy cobble, a little bit of the pale moss and what have you. I extended that into the interior with some vines just to aesthetically try to break it up a little bit. I even extended the moss to the roof. I think it gives a nice texture and nice breakup of the monotony of these tough blocks and stone and what have you. The roof, I took a different approach. I was going to make it just solid copper and then do some weathered versus oxidized and what have you. But I really like how the prismarine and the prismarine bricks match up along with the warped and down to the dark prismarine. So it gives a nice baked shadow here. I love that the prismarine changes colors. So at some points it matches really well with the copper, and at other points it matches really well with the prismarine bricks. You know, it's always something new when you're looking at it over a minute or two. It's always a little different. Sometimes it actually kind of looks like with the glow lichen that there might be a little bit of bird poop on top, which actually I kind of like. I think it fits the aesthetic a little bit. You know, this is a weathered, beaten up station that's been there. You know, it's not cleaned. It's just a piece of the infrastructure of the island, and it's not really looked after as, say, like the greenhouse or the nurseries or even the lighthouse is looked after. So I thought that was kind of a cool little trick. It's sunken in a bit from the height of the island. So if you're right here, you can only really see the roof. You have to kind of get up close in order to see it, or, you know, come from the sea, and then you'll be able to, you know, it'll stand out. My last part of the build, I added these legs. The legs take on the checker pattern of these columns right here and just extend the column length. Can't really see them, but it bugged me that it was just floating. Again, I'm a little bit more on the realism side, so it annoyed me that it was just floating in space. I'm allowing the magma block to kind of stand out, but I'm not super happy with it, so I may cover it with slabs, like deep slate tile slabs, just to make it not stand out quite as much. But at the same time, I don't really see too many opportunities to view it from this angle. I mean, I don't really think you're going to be swimming around and under unless you're me. I have a little access door right here. This is basically allowing me to access the dropper just in case something goes awry, and the hoppers and the little clock and everything. Obviously, you can't put redstone components like a comparator in water, so I had to drain this area, and I figured a little room might serve really well. Other than that, a little garage door, imitation garage door. So these are the little rails, pulley system with the grindstones. That's what I'm imagining, at least, pulling up this massive dark oak garage door. It's kind of permanently open, but figured that might be a nice little aesthetic treatment. Maybe they have to, when it was a water treatment plant or something, or water intake rather, you had to pull in items and you needed, you know, larger door in order to do so. That is it. What are we on to next? Well, we're on to terraforming. And I just started. I got these beacons out last night. They cover this entire area, but essentially what the plan is, as I mentioned in the last episode, is to give this more of an even slope, maybe something closer to this side of the island as opposed to the sheer cliff edge. I might even get it a little more sheer than that, kind of closer to this, but what I want is there to be land essentially at sea level right about here for a few blocks, and then so the cliff will kind of go here, up, and then back into the plateau. I also started experimenting with just a little hill over here that will satisfy me as far as avoiding the tabletop feel that I have on my island right now, which is, again, like I mentioned in the last episode, not a thing that I was aiming for. You know, I just tried to start with a blank canvas essentially, and always had the idea that I'm going to put some hills, some small rolling hills, and maybe some dips and what have you all throughout this land, so it's not so flat and so plain. There's a lot of trees that I'm planning on also bringing in, which will give it some elevation and give it some variety as far as, you know, this flat plain that it is right now. That is it for the island. There's been a lot of activity in the shopping district and on the Astraea server in general, and I have really neglected to kind of show you guys what's been going on in the server. So I'm just going to take a quick visit to the shopping district just to give you a little bit of insight into all the workings that my server mates are up to. So here's the shopping district. This area is pretty much the same. We do have an ice shop now, which is nice. My bridge is still here. connecting the rocket shop and Devin's bookshop. These are really the only two shops on this side. Well, actually, this is relatively new. I don't know if this is an official shop or part of the shopping district, but I think whoever this is selling, yeah, they're selling blaze rods and bone blocks and blocks of coal. So that's nice. That'll be a good addition because I don't think those were being sold elsewhere. The biggest new addition is probably the library. We're going to have a grand opening. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town for that, so I won't be able to attend the grand opening event. However, this is CV and Razi, so Creative Villages, and I am Razi. They created these connected islands. Basically, on top of these islands, they constructed a library. So the library is actually a really neat, unique idea. Essentially, all the server members are writing books of lore. Please submit your base lore to the reception desk. You submit it here. So far, there's been a few books written right here. So author's name, got your world history. It's all alphabetized, the Dewey Decimal System, I'm assuming. Upstairs, I think, is maybe like a little reading area. Yeah, a little nook with more seating. Little area here, very relaxing looking, and then an overlook area where you can see the shopping district in all its glory. Tiny the dragon over here, and everything except for my rocket shop, which is completely hidden, completely obscured by this monstrosity of Devin's. No, I'm just kidding. I love his tower. That's the big addition. There's also a trim shop that Aria put together, which I'm definitely going to partake because I have like 3 armor trims right now. So I'll do that really soon. As soon as I get another right. We have a flag for Pride Month, which is fantastic. Trans flag and the Pride flag here. What else is... I probably have missed so much detail, in all honesty. That's CV's ship. This is under construction here. Probably a little bit of spoilers, but Mob Depot, Live Moss, the Taco Bell shop. I guess flower shop? Yeah, flower shop. This is Razi's dye shop, which is great. I've been using that quite a bit. Quite a few additions. The biggest things are just like the little decorating, you know, just really making this this area come to life. And they've been really doing, mainly Razi and Creative Villages have been really doing a fantastic job just making this area really aesthetically pleasing area to walk through. A few other things to mention. I have been streaming regularly, Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. The last stream, I actually raided the nearby ocean monument to get some sponges and to take out the Elder Guardian so I don't have to fly around the ocean monument that's very close to my base every single time I approach my base. Those streams are not to be missed. I am posting the VODs of the streams usually 2 or 3 days after the stream, so by all means, though, participating in the chat and joining the stream is far superior of a activity than watching the VOD later, but you can do either one. I'm totally fine with it. That's all the time I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me again on the Astraea server. I will be back with more terraforming and more streams and just more good times. See ya!